Welcome back to FM Builds. My name is Mike Usrey, and today is the exciting conclusion of Project Ron. We took a 2003 Miata that was all stock and turned it into a driver's car that you'd actually want to own. We've started from a very basic build that was just maintenance and getting it back up to snuff. Then we added some suspension with some Fox coilovers and our sway bars. Next, we upgraded the brakes by installing a Wilbid big brake kit front and rear, as well as putting some sticky Toyo tires on our Kogeki wheels. Next, we needed to upgrade our clutch, so we installed our Happy Meal kit, including a lightweight flywheel and upgraded clutch. After we were done with the clutch, we also wanted to upgrade the bracing of this car. So we installed our frame rails, our butterfly brace kit, our shock tower brace, and a hard dog roll bar at the same time to really stiffen the chassis. Once the bracing was wrapped up, then it was time to upgrade the interior. So we went through and did a whole bunch of upgrades using some parts from Mazda MX-5 Miata, Cipherauto, and DEI to make the interior a nice place to be. Then the last step before we add horsepower was to upgrade the cooling system. So we installed our new crossflow radiator, our airflow kit, a cooling reroute kit, and a general overhaul of the rest of the hoses used in the cooling system for the engine. And then the final step that we just completed was to install a turbo kit. Our Stage 1 turbo is now functioning and making lots of boost in this car, making it a great car to drive here in the canyons where there's lots of ups and downs, round and rounds. And we're out here today on Highway 141 to test out the accumulation of all of the parts installed on Project Ron, because I want to know how good this car is, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of Project Ron and how far it's come. So let's go for a little drive and see just how good this is. And off we go. Well, I can tell you right away that boost is a good thing. Ron was a great driving NB anyway to start off with, but now, if you actually want to pass or just accelerate and mean it, you just put your foot down and the boost comes in immediately. Plus, just listen to it, come on. Okay, we all know turbos are exciting. They're great to drive for power. It's really exhilarating whenever that thrust happens, you can feel it. But honestly, for street driving, actually, it still makes a lot of sense because we're out here on a windy 2-lane road. There's not really any sections that you can pass somebody if you're falling behind a trailer or something, except for when there's a dotted line. If you need to have that speed ready to go at a moment's notice because you don't know how long that dotted line's gonna last, that's easy. Turbo and go. Garrett GT2560R that we use with our turbo kit is really a perfect sizing for the 1.6 and 1.8 engines. The response is right there. I'm just cruising around right now, hard throttle, going, I don't know, 45 miles an hour on a back road. And if I just want to roll into it, I get boost. It's already in boost. I mean, what turbo lag? Ron is a really nice place to be now. We've done the suspension upgrades, we've done the chassis upgrades, and now the car feels solid, it feels planted. I can chuck it around corners, and I have total confidence that it's going to maintain its composure the whole way through. This car, actually, right now, even with, there's the odd bump, pothole, you know, little movement in the road, but it just soaks those up. It's not like I don't feel them, I'm not in a Cadillac. I can feel them, I know what's happening, but I'm not uncomfortable. Everything just works so harmoniously, it's a nice place to spend time. And then when you want to get a little bit more aggressive at it, in a nice little tight corner, you can just go into a dive and the car is just ready for it. It works great. Everything is a symphony. It's just perfect together. Maybe it's just me getting older, but I really appreciate a nicely detailed and just cohesive interior. Now that Ron's had a bit of a makeover on the inside, I have this nice Cypher steering wheel with very plush, supple leather. It even has perforations right where your hands are going to be gripping it at the 9 and 3 position. I have this FM Craven Speed shift knob. It has a very nice solid feel. It doesn't wobble around. It's actually a good bit heavier than the stock shift knob that came out of this car. The seats with the cat skin covers on it that really grip you. They have that faux suede insert. I've done a little bit of foamectomy to the seats themselves, so I'm sitting just a touch lower than you normally would. All of these things add up to make a really nice, comfortable, but also very secured and cohesive interior. It looks great, but it feels great. One of the things that's less apparent when you're driving, especially on the street, is the cooling system upgrades we did. For most people on the street, cooling upgrades aren't going to get you a whole bunch because really they're intended to improve how efficient the system is at shedding heat, but also it gives you more headroom for when you are making horsepower and making lots of heat, like on the track, and it is able to deal with all of that added heat. Out here on the street, it's not really a big deal. However, I have lots of peace of mind knowing that this car has plenty of cooling headroom to where we're not going to have to worry about stopping to let the car cool down, we don't have to worry about overheating the engine, none of that. The cooling system in this car is solid. We are good to go. The brakes, they have a very solid but still very friendly feel. I don't feel like if I breathe on the brake pedal that it just brings me to a halt. It's not anything like that. The pads that we've chosen with this brake kit are still very streetable. They're very easy going. The one benefit is that when I put my foot on the brake pedal, I can actually feel, because of the stainless steel braided lines and the Wilwood calipers that are much stiffer, it's a very steady and even feel on the brake pedal. That effort that I have to use to push the brake pedal, it's very predictable. The tires, the wheels, these are a little bit wider. They're one size smaller in diameter, but on the street, they're perfectly fine. You know, we're not using anything that's necessarily race rubber. These ones are definitely stickier than what we had on the car before because they were just all seasons. You're gonna have way more grip than you would with those all season tires. So on the street, it's a nice peace of mind that you have that performance on tap if you need it or want it. Our Happy Meal clutch kit, it works so well for street cars. It doesn't really change how much effort you have to use to push the clutch pedal. It's maybe a pound or two heavier, I forget, but the other thing about the Happy Meal that makes it so fun though is that now we have the lightweight flywheel. It's about half the weight of a stock flywheel. That lightweight flywheel doesn't add any horsepower, but gosh, does it make this car feel like a sports car. You have that really quick reaction time. You want to blip the throttle, change gears, it'll just do it. The extremely reactive lightweight flywheel paired with our really easy to modulate level 1 clutch kit makes for a great combo. That's why we call it the Happy Meal kit. It's something you could use on the street just like this, or out on the track, which we'll show you a little bit later. But right now, I'm having a great time. This car feels so lively. It's really a fun car to drive, and there's not really any downside to doing these kind of modifications for a street-driven car. Ron's great on the street, and he's also a riot on the track. Oftentimes when you build a street performance vehicle, or even one that's a bit more dual duty focused like Ron, the car can feel a bit soft. It can feel like it underperforms on the track, but that is not the case with Ron. All the chassis upgrades we've done, the suspension dialing with the Foxes and our sway bars, it feels very sharp. Everything about Ron is just begging me to dive into the next corner a little bit harder. This is a tight track. It's only 9/10 of a mile, but the beauty of that is that there's lots of shifting, lots of footwork to be done. I'm far from an expert, but I love how easy it is to flip the throttle. That lightweight flywheel really comes in handy coming around these corners where I need to downshift and really get some action in, because there's lots of shifting around each one of these corners with a 6-speed box like this one. This turbocharger is the perfect size to where anything on a track where you're revved up just even a little bit, the power is right on tap, and you can really just nail it out of the corners and be right into boost. No lag at all. And of course, if you need to make up a little bit of time, turbochargers are a great compensator.
The wheelwood brakes on this car feel just phenomenal. I have plenty of modulation, and it's not difficult to use. It's very linear, the pedal feel is very even, and I'm actually not even using most of what this brake kit is capable of. I have so much more on the tap that I could really make an emergency stop if I needed to, but on this small of a track, it's just a joy because I don't even have to apply that much pressure to get as much braking performance as I need. Everything feels very natural and understressed in this particular application. These Toyos are so grippy. I have all the confidence in the world that I can almost do something a bit too silly and I won't be spinning off onto the outskirts of the track. The amount of mechanical grip that Ron has is kind of my savior because I'm definitely the weak link in this scenario. Ron has so much more capability than I'm able to draw out of it. And that's just driver skill. But I could really botch a corner, miss the apex, overshoot my braking zone, and I have so much to be able to compensate for my lack of skill that Ron makes it look natural. He's making me look good, or at very least, he makes me feel good.
And that about wraps up Project Ron. We hope that you enjoyed it as much as we did because, boy, is Project Ron an awesome car to drive. It works phenomenally well on the track. It's so comfortable and works great on the street. It's the perfect all-rounder. And that's what we set out to do when we started building this car. Hopefully you enjoyed this series, and who knows, we might do it again. If you have any suggestions on what we might build next time, leave those down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. We always like to see those suggestions so that way maybe we take a few of those suggestions and we'll apply it to the next one. Anyway, we appreciate you watching. If you like this, be sure to like, subscribe, share this video with any of your friends that might be interested in how they might turn their Miata into a dual duty track beast, but also great for the street kind of car. And hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thanks again for watching. Have a great one. Of course, we wouldn't be able to have this build series without the help of our friends and sponsors, Mazda Miata, DEI, Wheelwood Brakes, Cipherauto, Hard Dog Fabrication, Koyo Radiators, and Toyo Tires. Thank you all very much for your support and lending parts to be able to make this build as exhilarating as possible. I'd also like to extend a thank you to our customers and all of our friends in the Miata community. Thank you all very much for your support.